This thing got so out of control that Georgia Senate had to cut Fani Willis's microphone in the middle of her testimony.
Also, I have referred several times to the rates of the AG. I would like you to know that in 2020, the Attorney General of this state paid $52,000 in attorney's fees. I've done initial $52 million in attorney's fees with the top recipient in that year, initials AF. I've taken off their name at $3,593,000. That was for 2020. In 2021, again, in excess of $52 million, with the top one in that year being AD as the initials, $2,673,000. I should note the great Josh Belafonte was one of the recipients that year, and he made $1.3 million in 2021. In 2022, the AG's office spent on special prosecutors $55 million. DS being the top recipient for that year, $2 million, $200,000. Josh Belafonte made $911,000. In 2023, the AG's office spent $65 million with the top recipient making $5 million, initials MR, and I'm going to finish. And 2024, the top recipient was MR, and they made $4.6 million. And then let's not leave off 2020.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question here.
Ridiculous. That doesn't happen when a witness is winning, as they're going to frame it, of course. It happens when a hearing meant to clear your name spirals completely out of control. Because instead of answering basic questions about taxpayer money, Fani Willis went on the attack for no reason whatsoever. She dismissed questions. She invoked race.
When did you begin to consider whether to bring charges in response to the 2020 presidential election in Georgia?
Don't answer that. That's a deliberative privilege. Don't answer that. I instruct you not to answer.
Is it true that part of your transition team was involved in the process of interviewing people before you entered office to lead the investigation into the 2020 presidential election?
I'd like to answer that.
Go right ahead. You only take my advice sometimes anyway. Go ahead.
That's really an ignorant question. And if you understand what the word ignorant means, it means the lack of knowledge. If you recall the facts, I was already district attorney when this all came to light. So it's factually impossible.
You were district attorney when what came to light?
When Raffensperger went on Good Morning America or whatever show he went on. I was already district attorney, so what you ask is a factual impossibility. Now, I know they've gotten black folks confused and said I was running for office, saying I was going to prosecute the president of the United States, but that's what we call a lie.
She portrayed herself as the victim, and those moments may have done more than just embarrass her. It may cost her office millions of dollars, of taxpayer dollars. See, this hearing was not about Donald Trump. It was not about a witch hunt, and it wasn't about politics. It was about one narrow question. Did Fani Willis misuse taxpayer money by hiring and financially benefiting from a romantic partnership she put into the Trump RICO case? That's it. Money, relationships, professional ethics. And when someone has nothing to hide, they answer those questions calmly. She didn't. She called the senator's question dumb. She pivoted to stories about harassment and intimidation. She brought up racial slurs written at her home. Now, no one is denying those things may have happened, but here's the problem. None of that answers the questions she was asked. A little filibustering I might detect. When someone under oath avoids facts and substitutes emotion, that's not a defense. That's deflection. And it usually means that the paper trail isn't on your side. Here's the allegation that really matters. Fani Willis hired Nathan Wade as a lead prosecutor on the Trump RICO case. Nathan Wade was also her romantic partner. Nathan Wade billed hours of taxpayer-funded work. That money went to someone. That money went to someone she was personally involved with. Someone she traveled with, someone she vacationed with. That's a conflict of interest. I don't know how else to slice it. And under Georgia law, the standard is not just actual wrongdoing, it's the appearance of impropriety, which was proven. And that's why she was taken off the case.
And I'm happy to sit here and announce to you, every one of those 18,000 cases, a decision got made on to include those 101 police cases I talked about, as well as the 46,100 and I think 36 cases that came in January 1st, 2021 till December 31st of 2024. So while people tell these lies about the DA ain't been working, I want you to find a DA working as hard as me.
My question was, when did you decide to hire outside counsel, a special assistant district attorney, for the election interference case?
Supporters say Nathan Wade was qualified. That argument doesn't matter. He was not uniquely qualified. He was not the only option in Georgia. And even if he were, you still cannot hire your romantic partner using public funds. You see conflict of interest there? The issue is not his competence. The issue is the benefit. Public money flowed from her office to someone she personally benefited from. That alone compromises the case. It's over. That's why she was removed. So now, years later, why is Fani Willis making a scene at the Georgia Senate? When the senators pressed her about the hiring decision and the billing records, she did not answer. Instead, she reframed the hearing as intimidation. Then her own attorney called the proceedings a witch hunt.
How would you define block billing?
Like somebody who didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
When I refer you to the screen, these
I
are...
don't review those documents, so you're asking me to look at documents that I haven't for the first time. What I can tell you is that I
I'll give
only
you time to
allowed
review the
Mr. Wade to
documents.
bill 160 hours a week, and then Mr. Wade would be the first one in the office making sure that my staff arrived. He corrected their behavior. They thought that 8:30 meant 8:30. He taught them that 8:30 means 7:45. He got there before them. He left after him. He taught them how to do this case, and he was a leader to that team and a public servant. And for that, him, like me, has been threatened thousands of times. You want something to investigate as a legislature? Investigate how many times they've called me the N-word. Why don't you investigate that? Why don't you investigate them writing on my house? Why don't you investigate the fact that my house has been swatted? If you want something to do with your time that makes sense, and you can use all this in your campaign ad, you attacked Fani Willis. What have you done, sir? Nothing.
Power.
I have plenary power, Governor, to conduct the meeting.
No, sir, you
Absolutely.
You do not have plenary power. I know you think you do and that you're above the law, but you are not. If you want to cite her for contempt,
Governor,
she is entitled to a jury trial, and I can examine you on your actions, and I can examine you on your motives, then I will be glad to take that. As Clint Eastwood would say, make my day.
Well, we know the motives. He's on the ballot.
Governor, this is
a witch hunt.
This is a
Always
hearing
been a witch
of the
hunt.
Senate Special Committee on Investigations.
You're not worried about those that you convicted illegally and locked up. Why is it that you run ads?
We're going to go on to our next question. How are the funds?
If your prosecution is legitimate, you don't cry witch hunt. When asked about your finances, you show receipts. Done deal. That's it. Here's what most people are missing. This doesn't just hurt Fani Willis personally. It poisoned the entire Trump RICO case. A compromised prosecutor means a compromised process. And now, since the case was thrown out, now Fani Willis's office is on the hook for millions of dollars in court costs. They're going to have to reimburse Donald Trump and his co-defendant for this actual witch hunt, because Fani Willis, it's like she came into office and she had to prove something. You could tell this in her attack on public figures local to the Atlanta area, the Young Thug RICO case automatically, and then going after the high profile Donald Trump case. Like she was going to single-handedly stop Donald Trump from becoming president. Oops, it didn't work. So now what? The only thing they needed to prove was that she was unfit to prosecute him. Her testimony today in this crash out, it showed a perfect example that she was unfit. I don't know what she thinks she's doing. A lot of times I think women in positions of power sometimes want to show strength in a certain way, but This was just embarrassing, you know? That's strange, man. So when the lead prosecutor, Nathan Wade, was disqualified, everything downstream became unstable. The case wasn't determined by Trump's defense team. It was undermined by the prosecutor of the case. Fani Willis didn't just lose control at this hearing. She lost control of the narrative. She lost control of the law, and she may have lost control of her job. Yeah, this is going to impact her. She got reelected, you know, and there were some interesting things that were said about a particular firm that is of interest to me because when covering this story, you could see that there was allegedly another media apparatus at play. I think she was able to use the people, and they were brought up in this, at Canal Media Partners and 2020 Insight, LLC. The names Jeff DeSantis and Chris Huttman were brought up. They're veteran Democratic consultants who've worked at the candidate and committee, party, and media level of campaigns from president down to the local level. High quality survey, research, and campaign consulting at affordable prices. So Fani Willis was a little confused. She wanted to say that they were responsible for her media buys, that she recognized the name, that she hired these people. But this is a direct link to Washington in some ways.
Are you familiar with a company called Canal Media Partners?
It's my fundraiser. I think that's the name of my fundraisers. No. Canal Media Partners is who I pay to do filming or something. It's somebody I pay.
On the screen, we've got your 2024 summary from the State Ethics Commission page, and Canal Media Partners is listed as the second highest paid expenditure of your successful DA campaign.
They do great commercials. Use them.
To the tune of $527,000. It's my understanding from looking at their website that they do media buying, among other things.
That's why I won by 87%.
And there's a gentleman by the name of Mr. Chris Huttman who
Is brilliant.
does work for you. So you're familiar with Mr. Huttman.
He is brilliant.
What does Mr. Huttman do?
He buys media space. And if you're an elected official listening, you might want to hire him because he is able to go and find you the best rate so that you can get the best media. So really the best bang for their buck. Don't mean this to be a commercial, but I mean, I did win by 87%. You might want to work with him.
His LinkedIn shows present work with or employment at. It doesn't clarify either, but it shows that he's been at Canal, which we've talked about for the last 13 years, and at a company called 2020 Insight, LLC, for the last 15 years. Are you familiar with a company called 2020 Insight?
It sounds familiar, but no. I might have paid him. I just don't remember.
According to 2020 Insight's current website, it is a partnership between, they don't say partnership here, but this states under their Who Are We, it lists Mr. Jeff DeSantis and Chris Huttman, Mr. DeSantis being the same one that serves in your office, and Mr. Huttman being the gentleman that we just talked about that you referenced.
I don't know that he currently still works with him, but we could have got to that question 3 questions ago. I know at one point they worked with each other.
The website for saying that Mr. DeSantis is there is current, but it's your testimony today that you don't know whether he does work with 2020 Insight before.
I don't know that he actually continues to work with them, but I certainly know that in the past that he worked with him.
Is it your understanding that Mr. DeSantis and Mr. Huttman were business partners?
I really don't know what their professional relationship was, so I don't want to speculate. I will tell you this. The governor talked about old men having to go to the bathroom. 54-year-old women do as well, so we don't have to get me to a bathroom break.
We'll take 5.
Thank you.
These guys worked on the Obama campaign. They worked with the DNC. And some of the questions today were geared towards, did you take a trip to Washington to get instruction to file this case against Donald Trump and his co-defendants? You know, the question still remains, like, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been asked if she didn't hire her boyfriend at the time, her alleged boyfriend at the time, to be the special prosecutor for this case. You know, seems so crazy. It seems so crazy that she is this defiant in the fact that she might want to chill before she really gets investigated. And, you know, she, by the skin of her teeth, didn't get thrown in jail for this type of thing, you know. I don't know if Fani Willis understands that by bringing more attention to herself, she's just putting a bigger target on herself. The Trump administration has pretty much left her alone. You know, they've definitely gone after Letitia James, and I think that was right. That's the right thing to do, technically, even though she was allowed to skate off from that. But Fani Willis hasn't been really targeted in any way. But after today, I think she painted the biggest target on her back, and she will face some repercussions for just showing her ass, you know? But anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. Make sure you join the Patreon, patreon.com/Faucette Media. This is Faucette Media.